All right, guys. Appreciate y'all getting on. It's always great when you come in after a win. It's a fun time for the guys and fun time for the staff. After the tough week we had last week, just coming through in the whirlwind of, trying to get feet on the ground and just go through and not cheat the game. I tell everybody my beard was completely black last week, and a week of being a head football coach, you can see what it'll do to you. But just, the guys came out and, we went and talked about it a little bit yesterday, but they came out and we did a great job for us running the ball, stopping the run, and that's what we wanted to do. We wanted to, make sure we set the tone with being physical, and it started with our O-lines and D-lines. Those guys did a great job, and, just getting the running game going and being patient and knowing that, hey, if we get a 3 or 4 yard run, it's a great offensive play. And so those guys bought into it, and the offensive, defensive staff did a great job, of getting the guys ready to go play. I thought the energy was unbelievable. We came out and the play that I showed them, I think, where the game turned. We talk about the second half explosion that we had in the second half. It all started with the missed field goal. And if you go back and you watch that play, and I showed it to the team yesterday, that it looked like we won the game at halftime because everyone was on the field. I mean, those dudes, after he missed the field goal, the dudes were standing on the field, and I was just as guilty as the rest of them. And so we were on the field, and it was so exciting to watch those guys get excited about the game we were playing. And the thing that's so cool about that part, that's a missed field goal at halftime in a 10-7 game. And the exciting part about watching those guys get excited about at that time is a small play in the game, and I think that's what the difference in the game was, because now they never could get any mojo or any momentum going because of the energy that those guys had on the sideline, and they were just cheering for each other and just excited to make plays, and it was a great time. And, just to share with them, to be with those dudes and knowing what they went through, the adversity, and they responded the right way like we asked them to as a staff, I thought it was huge. Thought we did a good job. That was the most punt return yards we've had in a long time. And I thought, Coach Kirgo did a great job of coming up with a game plan of having the chance to get Jason going. And, Allen did a great job with the extra points and the kickoffs. And I thought we just executed all the way around. Now, the big thing that's glaring, the negative, is the penalties. Like, you cannot consistently win football games with 10 penalties. And I know, talking to Underwood, the yardage is messed up, and my wife made sure to remind me of that this morning. Don't you feel bad about those yards? That can't be right. But, I didn't argue with her because you know how that turns out. But as you go through, just know we can't have 10 penalties. That's not a recipe for success, and that's not the kind of brand of football that we want to put out there so that people see us play. So we don't want to have penalties. We didn't have any play hard penalties. They were all mental penalties, in which that's not what we want. You can't have unsportsmanlike. You can't have face masks. Can't have false starts and procedure penalties, that sort of thing. Blocks in the back. Those are all mental things that we have to make sure we harp on, and we understand that that's not the brand of football that we want to play. And we got to get that stuff cleaned up this week. So I'm looking forward to getting a chance to go to Richmond and EKU with the guys we have down there. I mean, they're excited about it. We had a good day of prep yesterday, and, ready to get on that grind today, knowing that, hey, because we did rush for 200 and held them under 100 yards rushing, we get to go in shells instead of full pass. And I told Josh Samuel last week, he asked me, he said, Coach, what happens if we rush for 300? I said, there will be no practice on Monday. And so we didn't quite get to 300. I think Ron was trying his best to get us to 300. But we didn't quite get there. And so I'm very excited about another week to go out and get to do this thing and, and enjoy this ride while it lasts, and go have a great time this week with these guys and get them ready to get them going.
Questions? Max, I'm not sure why my beard's so great, but you, just what was that celebration like in the locker room for you?
I mean, I give these guys a hard time. I tell them all the time they don't know much about Coach Thurmond. And so they got a chance to see it. I think Jaylen here, he was the guy that he violated the man law. So, but we talked about that yesterday. But I think just to go in and celebrate with the guys, man, like, it was exciting for me, to get a win. But at the end of the day, man, I was so proud of the players in that locker room, the coaches, the training staff, everybody that's involved in this program. That's who I was most excited for, because when you go through, when you have uncertainty, it's so hard to be focused and locked in when there's uncertainty. And so those guys came out, just like I told them, don't cheat the game, and make sure that one thing that will be for certain, at 4 o'clock on Saturday, the ball will be kicked off, toe will meet leather. So let's just focus on that part, because that's going to happen. And so I think just to see the guys go through and do that, man, it was very exciting.
Jaylen and Ron, the same question. Your thoughts about the celebration after the game?
I really don't know. It was a different side of Coach Thurmond I never seen before. I mean, it was cool, though. We got to see Coach Thurmond turn up.
Seeing Coach Thurmond act like that, I haven't seen it a lot, but like he having been my position coach, I knew he had it in him. He always used to like tell us that he'll take his shirt off and go crazy. Sometimes we win a good game, but I'm glad to see him be happy with all the things we have been through this year. So it was a good time.
To both Jaylen and Ron, talk about what you've been through lately, and Coach brought you all through this today with the thought being that you're part of the future of the program. What are your thoughts about what's happened around the program in the last, stall the transition, and what are your hopes for the future of the program?
You really only can like we always tell each other, like Coach tells us all the time, you only can control what you can control. So we really just got to play football at the end of the day and just believe.
Yeah, really, like J-Rock said, you can really just control what you control. I mean, things happen in life, so you just got to move accordingly and move on.
Coach Thurmond, I'm wondering, it's Jim Tyree from EKU.
How you doing, Jim?
Good to see you. I'm wondering how much time in that first week you kind of spent on the mental part of things for your players. I mean, was that something that you had to address this week at all? And if you did, how much time did you spend on it?
Well, what I do, I'm one of those guys that, man, I'm a straight shooter, and so like when I don't like something, I make sure and let my guys know. When I like something, I let them know it, and so they know that what kind of guy I am, and I come in with the same mindset every day. So like there's an issue or anything that I feel like needs to be addressed, I'm going to address it in front of everyone. So we address. They got a chance to ask their position coach any question they want to ask about anything that was going on. After all of it, I was announced the interim head coach. We had a position meeting. I told them, make sure you meet with your position coach. Any question you have, I will address it as a team tomorrow. So we came back, addressed every question that they had. And so there was, I think the mental side of it is the unknown, and when the kids can ask questions and you answer their question, and it's not kind of swept under the rug. You kind of just meet it head on. I think it clears it up for the kids, because at the end of the day, what gets lost in all this stuff with the transition is you have a bunch of young men in the room that are 18 to 22 years old that are still, no matter how grown they want to be, they're still looking for direction. And so when you give them direction and you let them know what your plans are, what your thoughts are, it makes it so much clearer for them, so they can have a clear mind and clear heart and go out and execute and do the things that you ask them to do.
Max, I'll ask you the same question I asked the players. You played for this program. You're an alum. You coached in it a lot of years. What is your hope for what's to come?
I hope that whatever the as I told you last week, the people that have a lot of commas and zeros in their paycheck, I hope that they make the best decision for Jacksonville State, whatever that is. And I'm still going to be a supporter of Jacksonville State, because this is a place that I've loved. I mean, like, I grew up here. I came here in 1996 as an 18-year-old, 5'4.5", 155 pounds, soaking wet, walk-on corner. I came to Jacksonville State like that. And, if next Saturday is my last day getting to be here, I will get to leave as the interim head football coach at Jacksonville State. And if you really want to write a storybook in it, it can't get any better than that. And I'm excited about that, because I get a chance to do something that, as a coach, if you want to be in a coach, and you always dream of being a head coach. And I tease people all the time, my dream job used to be the head coach at Destin Middle School. And if you ever go to Destin, it's right there as you get ready to go across the bridge. I'll say it's on the beach, and nobody cares about 7th, 8th grade football as long as everybody plays. And that used to be my dream job, but now I'm getting a chance to live out my dream, being here at Jacksonville State, being the interim head coach. So I trust that the administration and everyone that's involved, they're going to make the best decisions for Jacksonville State. And, and I'll be cheering on for Jacksonville State till I can't do it anymore.
Max, how important is the winning season for you guys? Because especially the effort Saturday and the previous Saturday, it seems like it's really important to you guys.
Well, and always, and I learned this early in my coaching career, like when you get down to it, and what I stress to the guys today, there will be a lot of teams that will play in the November football. Everybody remembers how you play in November. That's first and foremost. Everyone remembers that. And then when you get to walk off that field for the last time with the 2021 season, no matter whether you are a redshirt freshman that gets to travel or you are a redshirt senior and this will be your last time putting on that helmet, when you get to walk off that field for the last time, if you have an opportunity to walk off victorious, it is an unbelievable feeling knowing the last time I played a football game, I was a winner. And I gave my absolute all to walk off that field on top. Because as you go through it, there will be one team that's happy at the end of this 21 season, and that's the team that plays in Frisco, Texas, and that will be the team that wins it all, and that will be the only team that can say, hey, we officially got to the mountaintop. But to win your last game, whether it's a winning record or whatever that is, I don't know about all that stuff, but if you get to win the last football game you play, it is a really, really huge deal, and it gets you ready for the offseason because now you have that good taste in your mouth and you're ready to go in and grind and get ready for the offseason. And the turkey will taste a lot better, I promise.
Coach and also players as well. That first half, it seemed like you guys were, struggled a little more. Second half, it kind of opened up for you guys. Was there a difference in the first half and second half for you guys, emotionally and playing-wise as well?
I think really at the end of the day, it was just I thought the guys had good energy. They were doing some things that, like, as we got through the week, we were prepping for, and we had a game plan in on offense that they kind of changed a little bit, did a little different than what we had planned for, and so it took us a little bit to get in the groove of what they were doing to us on defense. And then I think the energy just picked up. I mean, the dudes just went through the roof in the second half. And it's my job to make sure that, hey, when the game starts, we have that same energy we had in the second half of the Lamar game. That's what my job is, to make sure I'm not calling any offense, defense, special team plays. My job is to make sure that everybody on that sideline is as juiced and jacked up for 60 minutes, not 30 minutes, not 45 or 15, for 64 minutes. And that's what my job is, to make sure that we're juiced up. And so I think that, to me, that was the difference, because if you go back and look at the play, and I showed the guys in the team meeting, man, you look at that was the turning point in the game, because that's what Lamar had done to other people. When they would get down, they would come back, they had unbelievable energy. Well, when our guys brought that energy, I don't feel like they could respond to it, and they never could get themselves in a groove.
Like at the halftime when we missed the field goal, I felt like he said the energy changed then. Then we knew we had to come out and execute, and like he said, we had to go with the game plan of like rushing and stopping the run, and I think we did that, and that was the outcome of the game.
I really think that the missed field goal was definitely a turning point in the game. That really changed the momentum. It had the sideline going crazy, and I feel like we just took that momentum and ran with it in the second half.
Jim, did you have something? Yeah, Coach, I just wanted to ask you, as you prep for EKU this week, what have you noticed about them in your study of this team?
Man, just watching them on offense and defense and in the kicking game, very well coached team. Like, those dudes, man, like, you sit in there and you try to find weaknesses, and it's hard to find one. It's on Tuesday and we still searching. Those guys do a really good job. I think their O-line is really good and solid. The quarterback, he's a competitor. He's a guy that can make plays with his feet, and he can make plays with his arm. The running backs, they run hard. They are downhill. They're not, those guys that are out there and want to be in space. Those dudes will hit that thing up inside between the tackles, and they get out there pretty good. And they keep those wideouts involved. Using those tight ends, man, those guys, they can create some mismatches because they move them around. They put them inside, outside. So they do a really good job of, trying to keep you guessing about where those guys are going to be, whether the receivers are inside or the tight ends are outside. They do a great job of trying to put themselves in the best situation to be successful. On defense, man, that dude, that number 33, oh my gosh, he is an absolute freak of nature. He's one of the best defensive football players I've seen on film in a long, long time. That dude is all over the place. There was a play we watched last night where this dude he's 2 yards in the backfield, and then he's chasing a guy down, and he almost catches him like 90 yards away. He's unbelievable. The effort level he plays at and how he plays. And I know Coach Johnson and Coach Hawkins, those guys over there. We've known each other for a while. Coach Johnson, we met each other back in 2003, so I know those guys are gonna be coached up because he's been at EKU and before he's had a couple stints. He and I are pretty similar in our careers, and he's gonna have those guys coached up, and they're gonna play hard. Then in the kicking game, man, they just had a guy that returned 190 yards versus Sam, and they're explosive. Their kicker is really good. The punter does a really good job, of placing the ball and keeping you off balance with the rugby and the traditional style punt. So they're a very, very solid team that do the things that you have to do to win football games. They run the ball, they stop the run, they great in the kicking game, and they don't get penalized. And so that's the recipe for success.
They have not been able to run the football in the last 2 games. They've caused them to lose 2 in a row, Coach. Do you think that's the key this week?
First, always, if you can stop someone, you can control a pass game, but you can never stop someone from running the football. I mean, you can never stop someone from passing, but you always have a chance to stop people from running the ball. Now, what that will do that will open up some throwing lanes and that sort of thing, and our guys have to win the one-on-one matchups because you're stacking the box to make them one-dimensional, to give yourself a chance. But when you're in a 50-50 guessing game, when you're trying to call a defense, when guys are in 2nd and 5 and 2nd and 4, I mean, you don't know whether they're going to throw it or run it, and so you're trying to play the guessing game, and that's not a good place to be. So you always want to keep yourself ahead of the chains by stopping the run. And just like us, and you can look at them like your statement, we ran the ball well 2 weeks in a row, we won 2 weeks in a row. Well, the games we didn't run the ball well, we didn't win. And so the formula doesn't change no matter what level of football you're on. If you stop the run, it gives yourself a chance. Now you just have to control the passing game, not give up big plays in the passing game, not have penalties, and make sure you sound in the kicking game, and you'll have a chance of being successful.